Hi, this is Leonard Kish with Health IT. Let's restart over. We're streaming.
Well,
hey everybody.
We're live.
I don't think anybody's actually. We'll get there. We'll edit this later. Hi, everybody. This is Leonard Kish with Health IT TV. I'm here with Leslie Kelly Hall, who's the Vice President of Policy, Senior Vice President of Policy with Healthwise. You also work quite a bit with ONC on a number of patient and consumer-focused initiatives trying to drive more power to consumers. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing.
Sure. I'm really thrilled to be working with ONC to help drive some great initiatives for patients. I'm a member of the Standards Committee, and of course we want to make things more interoperable and have data flow. As part of that, we're looking at a couple of areas that are pretty new and exciting. One is precision medicine. And you might have seen last week's announcement from the White House on Precision Medicine Initiative.
I watched.
I am really thrilled to say that I co-chaired that committee for data interoperability with Andy Wiesenthal. And I was invited to go to the White House and to see the president speak. And there's just something amazing to see a president of the United States spend a half an hour on an initiative that will not only help with cures, but help with the population at large know what they have or are not likely to have.
Right.
And so it really helps people make better health decisions. As part of his comments, he really discussed access to information,
Right.
and patient-generated health data.
He said,
great.
in fact, that without being prompted, that he believed that he should be the owner of his health information.
He did.
Which I thought was that's something that I write about and am a big proponent of. But to hear him say that I felt like could have been a watershed moment.
I agree. Not only did he say that anything that comes from my body I should own, which would get to a very wide range of things, not only instruments inside your body, but genomic testing, perhaps even tissue use. In fact, I was really honored to meet the family of Henrietta Lacks, who participated in this event. And as you know, the book, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, highlighted how her particular genes, her tumors, and her cancer have been used pretty much to develop everything we know about cancer in the last century. And it was just dramatic to see her grandchildren at this event talking about patient access to data, being able to contribute to their own data to a record to make context part of care.
Right.
And that's a big deal. Each
Absolutely.
of us believes that it's not only what we're made of, what our genes might tell us, but also who we are, how we live, what we prefer. That kind of context makes me whole.
Right.
And how can my provider help me make better health decisions without knowing that whole picture?
I call it the meta me.
That's perfect.
It's the whole set of information about you, but it seems like it's a really new realization for healthcare that in order to get to precision medicine, that we had to have that more complete picture of an individual. It seemed like the way science has been done, for over 100 years has really been population-based studies, and there's certainly, of course, a lot of great information that we can get from that, but we can't really complete the picture of precision medicine until we have that kind of whole picture of an individual. So along those lines, you're also working on other initiatives that might facilitate that. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. There's always a big buzz going on right now about FHIR and the API use, and so I have a chance to work on that API subcommittee that's being done by Josh Mandel from ONC. There's a group of us talking about how do we securely connect. What is the difference between a consumer-initiated API exchange and a provider or a HIT vendor-initiated API exchange. And that's a big distinction, right? So if I, as a consumer or patient, am deliberate about saying, I want this app connected to this API, and I only need to verify who I am and that my app is interacting in a secure way, but it's my choice about what's connected. That's a balance of power change that can happen that says my data can be used how I choose, when I choose, where I choose through this app connection. And there's a little bit of buyer beware, right? I'm going to use it, and therefore it's my responsibility. It's not covered under the auspices of HIPAA any longer. It's covered under the consumer laws under FTC. So it's a very different shift. So that distinction of who connects what app to which API, if it's a provider, for instance, who says, here's my app store, and I'm going to pre-populate this app for you, and it's going to be connected to the API that I choose. That's clearly a business associate covered entity relationship in HIPAA. But when we move to completely having a patient connect their own app, that the rules of that exchange change, and I think having the industry understand that will be very important. And I hope that the OCR presented to our team last week and is going to be providing further information and explanation about this
Office
rule.
of Civil Rights within HHS.
Yeah, they are really on top of this, talking about very specific use cases, and our committee has actually asked for more use cases to be elaborated on because it is such a touchy thing. The worst thing that could happen is with the API connections, all of the industry is completely stuck on how to handle the HIPAA relationship. It'll be no different than our problems today with HIEs or you name it. In fact, I think it's a form of confusion is a form of information blocking and data blocking,
right?
Yes,
of course. It's convenient.
Because you're going to go to the lowest common denominator where there's the least amount of risk.
And there's costs associated with it, so it's just nicer to be able to do nothing.
But I'm really hopeful that beyond all the great startups we see, I think the critical mass of these apps for things like population health and patient engagement will come from some of our well-known HIT vendors, but in a new relationship. So maybe there's the Allscripts App Store or the Cerner App Store that a patient can choose, download an app, connect it themselves, and now have the data fluidity they choose in a new relationship.
Will they have access in that new relationship? It sounds like the White House is on board for pushing for that, and I think most people that are in the patient advocacy, consumer advocacy area of healthcare understand that really to get new, not just for individuals, but to drive science. Patients have to be the hub, but on the flip side, the Allscripts of the world, it's an asset. So are we going to need policy to be put in place to ensure that patients continually have access to that information?
The best guarantee of success is doing the right thing well, affordably.
Yeah.
So I think there's a market there, and the Allscripts of the world and the others are going to say, what's our model going to be? Is it increasing the satisfaction and loyalty of our existing clients? Is it developing a new relationship with consumers directly? Is it having, by virtue of that new relationship, new data that can be used in new ways and marketed? There's all kinds of opportunity we don't know about yet. But to think that we're constrained by what we do know today in the business model, I think it's short-sighted. We don't know what we don't know.
Right.
And I think there's a tremendous opportunity as the patient starts to be their own health exchange of one.
Right, the HIE of one.
HIE of one, right? And gets back to all these kinds of things that a patient could do. Will it take time? Absolutely. But today I was really encouraged by a presentation I heard from the Carolinas, who are already taking things like Fitbit data.
And I think we are going to talk with them later this week.
Pam Landis? You've got to talk to her. Man, this is tremendous. They found a patient by virtue of him not doing the steps he had committed to, that he was actually by his wife's bedside in a hospital. He wasn't taking care of himself. He wasn't walking. They intervened with a social worker to help the man at the bedside, and they knew about that. Now talk about patient and family centered. That's just mind-boggling. So what they did was look beyond that. Do I really need to know the steps? And what they found is I really needed to know my patient. and it's a different question to be answered and the right question to be answered. So I was very impressed with her.
So what else are you looking? We're at HIMSS 16. This is the HIMSS 16 living room. Any other parting thoughts or things you're looking for this week from HIMSS?
I'm really looking for things that will help patients use the data they now have access to: price transparency, shared decision making, the ability to not only get but distribute their information in new ways, and really choose the center they want to be instead of the center target healthcare wants them to be.
Right. All right. Well, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Great conversation.
All right, thanks,
And
Leonard.
this has been Health IT TV with Leslie Kelly Hall and Leonard Kish from HIMSS 16. Thanks.
Work?
Yeah.